Hello, everyone. So thanks for joining, Masters, and we'll continue our journey of, we understood the Panchbhutas, then we went into doshas or three doshas. So we'll continue looking into the other part of three dosha. We looked at Vata and the subtypes. Today we'll get into Kapha and the subtypes. Idea is still the same. If we understand it better, then we can make better decision in terms of our lifestyle, in terms of what we do, when we do, how we do, things like those, whether it is your dhyana, whether it is your breathing technique, whether it is your asanas, all those things you can make a better choice. If we can have a holistic approach rather than pinpointed, just one track approach. So what I mean by that is that if there is a specific thing we are dealing with, yes, we go for a specific knowledge, a specific tool, a specific application or philosophy. But if we understand life or our body in general better, then even if there is nothing wrong, we can make certain decision about ourselves, which can be, lifelong. The benefits will be like tremendous, and you don't have to wait for trouble to come and then initiate an action. Why don't we do it when we are healthy? So let me start sharing, and then we'll get into the Kapha Dosha today. Okay. So we will recap a little bit as we go in detail of Kapha, because in case if some people are joining it or they missed the previous one and this is the first, then at least they will be able to connect what we are discussing here. So a very good resource is available by Dr. Sumit Kesarkar on this three dosha, different elements of it. So if we understand with respect to Ayurveda, that what are we talking, then there are three energetic forces that controls the activity, that govern the physical, mental, intellectual structure and functioning of an individual. So it's not just one element that it's only physical or mental, but no, physical, mental, intellectual, everything combined. So it is that powerful and it is that impactful. So by creating a daily routine which is in line with the nature, in line with, you can say, the universe, the circadian rhythm, then it is most beneficial to us that we are living a life which is in line with the universe. And it helps you, again, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, all three ways. So our lives, we can reduce the stress. That means we can have a blissful life and more enjoyable. And we are going along with the nature or universe. That means least resistant path. That means you will have not just one day you may call blissful, but in general, your life will be blissful. So let's look at the three dosha. What is three dosha? So three dosha, when we see, means dosha means which changes. So it is referring to all governing forces in the universe or cosmos. And it can be regarded as a fault, error, against the cosmic rhyme. So same itself, dosha means error. Reference is the universe or cosmic rhyme. because doshas are constantly moving in dynamic balance between three of them, which is vata, pitta, kapha. Now we will look into detail of vata, pitta, kapha, but in last session we looked into one and we are taking the other one now. And the reason we look at vata, not just that we say it is number one, but if we look at from the impact on our body, certainly vata is really highly impactful. And the reason is vata is contributing to about 80 disturbances it can create versus if you look at the other two, which is pitta, which is pitta is about 40 disturbances and kapha is about 20. So that's why vata is much more, you can say, impactful than the other two combined. Now, when we look into the Panchabhutas, right, we can see that it's a combination. So if you're looking at vata, it is a combination of akash and vayu. Now, combination means there is certain percentage, but we don't know what is the percentage. And person to person, this percentage varies, and that's why the effect varies. Now, the amount of akash affects the ability of the motion to gain momentum. Like, you have ocean, but when there is high wind, you can have hurricane in it. But at other time, it may be very calm, no issue at all. So this momentum is really critical. Whereas when we look at pitta, this is combination of fire and water. It represents transformation. Transformation, and again, not just in human, but in the universe, like, from the sea, during the hot time, the water evaporates and then transforms and comes back as rain. So different forms, whether it's human or in the nature, the transformation is taking place. And when we talk of kapha, it is a conceptual equilibrium between water and earth. So structure, lubrication, that's what is attached to kapha. And the force that keeps the planet and orbit, everybody, these heavenly bodies moving in the orbit, their movements around the sun, all those equilibrium, kapha is involved. And you can imagine if this gets disturbed, it can cause big devastation. So that is the value in considering the combination. Now, it doesn't matter what we take, whether the universe or the human body. There are three fundamental processes which is happening. Any animal, doesn't matter, or plants. First is the input and output mechanism, which is associated with vata. So that means there is some input and then there is some output. So you take the input and then whatever is not needed, kind of waste, is excreted. Now, why we have taken any input? The next step is transformation. So you have taken the input to transform it into some useful energy units. This conversion, this transformation is what is related to pitta. Now, you have converted it, but not necessarily you're going to use it right away. So the third step is you're going to store or a backup nutrients. Nutrients is nothing but energy, so that this life or the flow continues. So which is kapha. So this is how the vata, pitta, and kapha, they are associated. They interact. They're having a dynamic balance. So every cell is taking intake food, converting it into nutrients, and throwing away the waste. It is happening on cellular level, systematic level, and again at a universe level. Now, the body is intelligent. It knows what is waste, what is useful, and similarly in the nature you will see. And there has to be some regulatory, some mechanism which is kind of keeping this interaction, the functionality between them. And Tridosha constitute that regulatory mechanism, because these are three types of forces working in the nature. And this can be seen in any form of life, so not just humans. So this way, when we look at it, you can say the process of origin and destruction is governed by Vata, and that's why it's very important. Transformation, we said it's Pitta. Storage, energy, universe, completing to ensure, that whatever the plan is, manifestation does take place, and that is Kapha. Even if the lifespan of different entity may be different. For a mosquito or a fly, you are talking a couple of days, whereas for us, it's, you're talking about 60, 80, 100 years. Universes, you're talking millions of years. So the question now you may ask is why they are called doshas. So yes, dosha, as we said, means some error, some fault, because if there is a deviation, then it's an error, right? But if everything is balanced, then it's tridhatu. Then it's not error. That means everything is in harmony, everything is in alignment. When the balance is disturbed, now the problem starts. Now we call them tridoshas. And these, they have different, like all of these doshas, they have kind of dominant places in the body. And we will see as we go, specifically where they kind of primarily, because again, you will see multiple areas. So coming into Kapha Dosha, right? Let's look at that, and looking at the Kapha, and then we will look at the 5 subtypes. So that's important that we not only understand the 3 doshas, but also the subtypes, and we will see the importance of them. Though the idea is not to kind of get too much into details, but to understand this concept. So when we are talking of Kapha, responsible for stability, it prevents from degeneration. That means before time, there should not be any degeneration. It ensures the constant supply of energy in stored form. And it's a force that ensures the universe goes through the continuous supply of energy. So that means the life goes on. So it is the stored energy which Pitta is transforming, and usability, right? Because then only it comes to of any use when you have it and Pitta can use, transform it. For Vata, it will disperse to various entities because you know the input and output mechanism. So you have the input output, you have the transformation mechanism, and to really understand the Kapha Dosha from human point of view. One may refer to, Bhagavad and Ashtanga Rudya. So these are all, in our Vedas, in our culture, you have these documents, which is a living proof that our Rishi Munis, our scholars thousands of years ago, they knew all this. They had the knowledge. Now, Bhagavad, we are not talking something which is just written or just introduced. No, you are going thousands of years ago. So this interaction, how it works, which is different for different people. So you can imagine the level of observation. Their research was based on observation. So generation by generation information was exchanged, and that's how they concluded. It was not a like we do now, scientific 60,000 people, and then we do some kind of trial when a new drug has to be introduced. In those days, it was not like huge number, but for a long period of time, and they had their own way of doing these systematic database, you can say, information generation by generation. So if we really see that the kapha, let's look at the location. And when we look at the location, you will see multiple. So we may say primary is this, but then it is also this kind of. So when we are looking at kapha, you will find it in the heart, lungs, so the chest area, very critical. Also the tongue, throat. So again, not just the chest, but you are coming up, and then you are further going up the head area. Now, apart from this, your joints, very important, fat tissues, and then again, nose and stomach. So chest is really important for Kapha Dosha. And if you really see from the pathology of this Kapha Dosha, you can see that the proportion, it can go up or it can go down. So if it increases, what would be the symptoms? So in your body, if kapha is increasing, how would you know something is going wrong? So there will be symptoms, paleness, hypothermia, rigidity, heaviness. Sometimes you feel, and like remember, we keep saying that during meditation or when you come in spirituality, you should be talking to your body. You should listen to your body. Body tells you what's going on. So if you have disturbed digestion, if you have issue with excessive sleep, obesity, right? Not interested always, no enthusiasm or shortness of breath. Yes, it is not necessary that if you have this means that, but these are the indications. So if you are aware, then, you can listen to your body, understand what's going on, what body is trying to tell you. And we can be very well aware of what's happening inside our body, because the body is giving you indication. It's just we may not be able to understand. Similarly, if kapha is going down, how would you know? It will have the opposite effect, of course, from what we saw during when it increases, and it may lead to quick degeneration of the body part, loss of body mass, instability, and all that thing, which is coming reverse of what we just saw. It may impact your, self-esteem. So you may have a low self-esteem. You may have like dryness, joint malfunction, picking pain, or body tremors, things like these, which are associated with this. So if you are having a certain element, one or the two, and you notice what your body is trying to tell you, then you may have that, okay, this is one possibilities. You can do own nadi pariksha. Is very easy. Like if you understand, you learn, and you can check that, okay, which one is more dominant between the kapha, pitta, or now when we talk of subtypes, there are 5 subtypes, and we saw about vata last time. So now kapha, and it is out of 5 subtypes. We are not saying which one is the most important or the other, but yes, you will see the functioning wise, the impact wise, and you may have your own take on it. And you will see that which is the one that we usually refer to when we have to work on kapha dosha. So out of 5, you will see. Tarpak dosha, bodak dosha, Kled Ka dosha, and Shleshak, and then the 5th one is Avlambak. So these are the 5 doshas, and let's look into like each one by one. So if you consider Tarpak, when we are talking about Tarpak dosha, this is coming from the word Tarpan, which means to nourish. It means that it is kind of something, responsible, or its contribution is to give strength, nourishment, lubrication to nerves. And the main location is head and heart. So different subtype means if you look at the kapha dosha, now there are 5 sub-elements. So this one is, it governs your emotional calm and stability, happiness, memory. And you can see that if memory or emotional thing is attached to all this thing. You can see it's not just personal, but it is emotional. Your mental health is related to it. So the practice of yoga can increase this mental form of kapha. And, to reach this contentment or blissful, the ananda stage in life. Now it has inward motion, if you recall last time we were talking, some are inward, some are outward, which allows us basically to feel happiness, because we were just talking about blissfulness, contentment, right? In our own nature. Now, meditation promotes its secretion. So you can see the yoga, the meditation directly impact these. So something which is related to your emotional well-being, your mental well-being, happiness, blissfulness, memory, all these things, which if goes up, gives you feeling of blissfulness, emotional stability, you will be a calm person. So once we understand this and you try to see, okay, I need to work on my calmness and this, which element of Kapha Dosha I should work, now you can easily identify. Because again, there are different even yogas or pranayama for different things. If you go to a master who's knowledgeable, that person will certainly guide you and point out the right, you can say, the yoga or pranayama for right, you can say, subtype. Now, kleda kalpa is from the word kledan, which means to moisture. Now, its primary location is stomach. And it's kind of, you can say again, related to the, the alkaline secretion of the mucus lining. Now, mucus lining, stomach or digestive tract in general. So you can see how it is related to moisture. The whole lining is very critical. The whole digestive system is very critical, as we understand our whole health and everything is actually coming from there. So this one is really important, responsible for liquefaction of food at the first stage. Now it doesn't do it alone, you will see that, but very critical. And it's protecting the inner layer, this mucus lining of GI tract. Why? Because you have the heat of pitta. Now it is again for digestion, but still it is heat. So it will be damaging the lining and it has to replace. So it's a wear and tear kind of issue. Not that something is wrong or pitta is wrong. No, to digest the food, you need heat. It's just a matter of the life cycle of this lining is such that it has to be replaced very fast, because you're dealing with acid, alkali, all those chemicals inside your stomach, which body is forming. So if we look at Shleshaka Kalpa, which means, that one that gives lubrication, and it is located in the joints as synovial fluid. Now it is responsible for holding them together and affording ease of movement. So that is why this joint, the movement, lubrication, you see all those things are so much connected. Now, when we look at the next one, which is Avlambak Kapha. So Avlam means to be dependent, and it means one which gives support or on which the whole body is dependent. Now it is located at like sacrum, heart, lung area, and this is the one which is the main one in the treatment of Kapha Dosha. So if someone has a Kapha Dosha problem, and if that's what you are trying to tackle, then Avlambak is the one that is very critical in that. That is the first, because it's a storehouse of Kapha and it supports all other Kaphas. And that is the reason this is the first one, most important one, in case if you are working on your Kapha Dosha. Last one is Bodhak Kapha, it's coming from the word bodhan, means to perceive. It means the one that give, the perception. And it's located in the mouth, your tongue, head, and it governs taste, sense of taste. It gives us knowledge, and not just taste, like the food we are talking about, the taste in our life. And so as you work with certain different forms of enjoyment, so the refinement of the taste and all those things, the Bodhak Kapha is involved. So this is how one big, you can say, the governance, which is the Kapha Dosha, is subdivided into 5 subtypes, just like we saw Vata last time, how they are kind of, you can divide them into 5 subtypes. And then each one of them take one role, and then they do it beautifully. So you see our body, it's a masterpiece, no doubt. It is doing all kind of functions inside, making all kind of chemicals and all kind of, you have your hormones, you have your different cells, fluid and blood and whatnot. And there is a mechanism which is balancing all this. And you see that is how these 3 doshas are working. And it is not just like one rule, or one energy, one force type controlling everything, but you see how they are divided, and individually they have their own role to play in the body. So masters, this is about Kapha Dosha. Hope it will give you a little more input to not only the 3 doshas, but also how individually they are making a difference in our body, how they are related to the 3 basic functions that every organism, whether cellular level or as a physical form like the body, or even in the other part of the nature, animal kingdom or plant kingdom, these 3 processes does take place. It happens automatically, and how they are related to these 3 types of forces, what we call 3 doshas. And of course, if it is in alignment, then we call Tridhatu, but 3 dosha, because if there is a deviation, then yes, it's an error. So if you have any question or you want to share your experience, please feel free to unmute yourself. Otherwise, back to you, Ashokji.
Masters, please feel free to ask a question to Gaurav sir, or share your experience, or whatever you wanted to talk. Yeah, you can raise your hand. I can unmute yourself. Yeah. Okay, Gaurav sir, let's go through the meditation. We don't see any hand raises, so we can.
Yeah, we'll make use of the high energy from full moon.
Yeah, yes, sir, definitely. It's been a long time that we have not done your long time meditation, so this is a beautiful possibility. So we have one raise hand, and after that we'll go. Yeah. Okay, Master. Yeah.
Namaste, Gaurav sir. I have a question. Is there any correlation between Dhatu and Trigunas, which are Rajasattva and Tamas?
So in the last session, we saw that how they are kind of related, in the sense how these 3 doshas are related with that. So if I'm not sure, maybe you had missed the last one. So what I will do is I'll just quickly check. Okay, so I can put though we did not go deep into the gunas, but we did talk about, one second, let me share. Hope you can see the screen.
Yes.
Okay, so when we talk of gunas, yes, they are associated with it. So the rajas is associated with vata, sattva is associated with pitta, and tamas with kapha. So these things are interrelated. These are the energy that really affect our life or functioning of the body, or in fact the whole universe. It is again going over thousands of years of observations, understanding, and this way. So it is not just theoretical concept, but it is, you can say, science, which is what we are trying to prove now or understand. But yes, they are related, and this is how they are related. That one of them is associated with one of the three doshas. So rajas, sattva, tamas, they are individually associated with vata, pitta, kapha.
Okay. Thank you. And one last question. I'm not sure if we have discussed this. What are the reasons of kapha imbalance?
What are the reasons? See, it could be multiple, but the very first one for anything is your lifestyle, your eating habits, or lifestyle will include all of the things, depending on your work, depending on what time you are doing what. And of course, external environmental factor may influence some of it, but most importantly, your own. So the lifestyle certainly brings, because of which you may have the physical condition, because of which you may have aggravated condition. So there will be a natural tendency for each one of us, and it will be different from one another because everybody individually we are different. And that may vary depending on our lifestyle. For example, if I'm not drinking water, water is one thing which affects all three. That is, in fact, the very first thing one should do. Doesn't matter you have issue with kapha, pitta, or vata. Increase the amount of water you are drinking, considering you are not taking at least 2 liters a day. That is the first thing one should do. The way our lifestyle, the time we sleep, the time we get up, as we are going to bed, we are with our phones nowadays. As we get up, we are with our phones nowadays. So really, we have so much in, you can say, control of our life, whether it is electronic, whether it is our stress by thought, whether we want to have everything or fix everything, whether it's us, our life, or kids or parents' life. That's pretty much what affects everyone. So it's, in general, we can say lifestyle, but starting from thoughts, your foods.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, Kay. Thanks for asking. Dr. Santosh, you may unmute yourself.
She raised, sir.
Oh, no, sorry. That was my mouse. I was saying, why is it a different color? No.
Yeah, got it, sir. Yeah.
Then okay. I don't think we have anyone else. All right. So I guess, sorry, this month they are saying strawberry moon. So every month has